What's up, bitches? Today, I have a really special podcast episode because I'm joined by Denise Brady, who's a licensed psychotherapist. And I found her videos during the heat of Love is Blind. I was able to see her breakdowns, really understand her content. And I was so excited to reserve time to speak to her on shows and welcome her to the podcast. So, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And just a quick plug, if you're not following her already, what is your handle so they can look you up right away?
Denise Brady, therapist.
There we go. So follow Denise so that you are aware of her content, throw some support. She has a YouTube, an Instagram, a TikTok. So everywhere where you could follow her, do it.
It's just Denise Brady. Yeah, therapist.
I love it. It's easy all around, just like
Yes.
my podcast. Like, don't change it. I love the consistency.
Yeah.
So I always want to start with a quick icebreaker before we get into things. So today I wanted to ask, what are your top, like, goated all-time favorite reality shows if you had to pick a couple?
Oh man. I've been watching reality TV since like the days of Road Rules and Real World. So my go-tos would probably be I like to throw in a little bit some cooking shows, some drama with reality relationships, but I also like maybe some more darker stuff also. So I'd probably say my go-tos are of course like anything like Housewives. I'm really into like the girls trips. I started to get into those, but I also like my, guilty pleasures of Love After Lockup, to make sure to remind me that my life isn't so bad.
I totally get that. I like those two options. I felt that way about 16 and Pregnant when I was a teenager. Like,
Oh,
I would be like having a bad day and I would turn on like Teen Mom or 16 and Pregnant. I'm like,
yeah.
well, I pretty much have absolutely nothing to complain about
Yeah, like
today.
at least I'm not pregnant and like living in like, the middle of nowhere.
And then stuck with this teenager for the
hmm
rest of my life, like to deal with him, whatever adult
hmm
persona he takes. Like, it's
hmm
a blessing to not be in that position. So yeah, turn on Teen Mom. Quick reminder. Thank God.
I can't believe Teen Mom is still on, like Teen Mom OG. Like, wow.
It's crazy. And especially, I don't tune in anymore, but I've seen the recent news of one of the
hmm
OGs.
hmm
I guess Ryan, I think
Yeah.
that's his name, just being
hmm
super abusive. And like I was just saying a second ago, they start these lives in such like a high risk situation, and it's
Yeah.
tense and it's a lot for someone to process at that age. And he has no excuse by any means, but it's like, oh my God, without the help of proper therapy and without people
hmm
stepping in to really make sure people are okay, it's easy
hmm
to see how reality personalities just go so south.
Yeah, I think he was like coddled a lot by his parents, and he had substance abuse issues and probably, really did need some therapy, but I don't think he really went. So he probably, the limelight, the money fueled probably his addiction, unfortunately. And having parents who probably also coddled him and didn't know what to do. And so I think his substance abuse just spiraled. And watching the video of what the house looked like, I don't know if you saw it, when the
Yeah,
cops came and how his wife, and I think he has one child with her too, but that was like really sad.
I
And to
couldn't
still see
believe it.
her in at court with him, like still hoping he would get out after everything. It's really sad to watch.
I couldn't believe the state of the house.
hmm
If you guys haven't seen it, I mean, trigger warning, but look it
hmm
up because he damaged every single surface of that house.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
anything. If it was sitting there, it was broken. If he could
hmm
write a slur on it, he did. I mean,
hmm
I'd never, and it was the house where his children were supposed to be safe. And
hmm
I was mind blown, just as you. I was shocked, but
Yeah, how do you wake up to that situation like every day, like knowing that having to walk around broken stuff. I just don't know how you function. It almost looked like kind of like a drug den. So it's like how do people like children exist in this space and go to school or whatever, how they live every day. It was really sad.
and like you said with the coddling, at a certain point, people need to step in and just really take control of someone who
Mhm.
is that out of line. He needed like a wake up call,
Yeah.
years ago by someone who was qualified to give him one. Honestly, that old show where they send problem teenagers to juvie just to see how they do, like send problem husbands to jail. Like let's see how they do. Like get them in prison and let's see how you
Get
do
it
then.
straight.
Yeah,
I think he just got like a lot of pat on the hands. And then he would just get out and do the same thing. I kind of see why I think remember her name was Mackenzie, how she doesn't have I think his name is Benji. He doesn't have a lot of contact with his father
yep,
because I see why you can't trust that your son will be safe in his custody.
absolutely.
Very unpredictable.
And high stakes, like it's your child's entire life before them. So I want to get into Yellow Jackets early just because I feel like I can't wait to talk about it with you.
Yes, yes.
So, first of all, what did you think of Natalie drinking the Kool-Aid? And we see the episode start with her in purple and trying to convince the others to stay and kind of like give the positives of being at the compound.
I almost feel like it reminds me so much of trauma therapy. Like you have to sit with the pain. You have to sit with what you have been trying to avoid. And I think there's just something so mysterious yet convincing about her that she can pull people into her mind, into her space that they drink the Kool-Aid and they fall for this, I don't know, like it's not even charisma, it's something about her aura that she's able to have people align with her and pull people in. So it's just very interesting how she's able to get people to do what she wants.
Now, is this a bad thing? Like my mind is wondering, is this a cult that she is having, or is she truly doing like a healing workshops, or like, is this like a retreat? Or in your mind, like how are you perceiving this entire space?
To me, it gives cult vibes. Like it's really feeling very culty, even though people can have contact with their families. We see the one character who goes and visits her mom against kind of rules. Um, it's very cult like, and I think on the outside, that's how cults happen. That's how you get sucked in. It gives you the appearance of like this is good for you. You have freedom here. You can be anybody you want, but behind, some of the, things you see on the outside is like, actually, we really don't want you to leave. You need to stay here. So it's giving me very culty vibes.
I'm almost starting to wonder, and I'm kind of jumping around a bit, but the way that everybody's gathered there and the visions that Lottie keeps having of,
Hmm.
all of this blood, like it almost feels like her other self, or maybe the part of her that's driven by this antler figure. I'm almost wondering at this point if she was gathering everybody who
Mm,
has a lot going on and would stay and whatever their willpower. I wonder if she's going to kill them. Like, I wonder if they are sacrifices
mm,
that they are going to ultimately take advantage of. Like, I can't tell what she's doing. I know that she meant well, but I think that her
mhm,
other self, if that's what we'll call it, or the power that's trying to win her over, I think it has other
mhm.
intentions with her compound.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that there is some type of sacrificing that's going to happen. Killing them, I think that might be the alternative part of her. The psychosis is what I call it, her psychosis side. She's bringing the women to the compound to give to this person, this being. But do I think ultimately they will be sacrificed? I don't think so because this is a show where I'm guessing they're trying to do multiple seasons. That wouldn't be
True.
able to happen if they all died. I do kind of see maybe is her name Leah? The one with what's the girl's name? Van.
Bam.
I can
Yeah.
kind of see Van being sacrificed because out of all the women who are there, she seems the least main character energy. She sometimes gives me like I'm there, but I could see her being taken out somehow. And she's already kind of dying because she has cancer. So that I could see something happening to her, but the other women seem very much core group, core main characters that I don't see them being sacrificed, but I could see something happening with Van.
Two things. Totally agree with Van. And she
Mhm.
was even wondering about why she's alive at some point in this
Mhm.
last episode and what her, why am I here? What is my purpose? So,
Mhm.
potentially, like you said, it could be tied into there.
Mhm.
But also not the women, but the people who are at the compound, like not the main
Mhm.
characters, the guy who is carrying the goat, or
The
just all,
extras.
yeah, are they going to get sacrificed? Like, was she
Mhm.
cultivating a flock to sacrifice? And then her friends get there and they do it. I'm
Oh,
wondering if that's
similar to what happened in the past.
exactly.
I could see that, yeah, because I think a lot of those other girls end up being sacrificed in some way. I can see that happening. I also was wondering, I know people said this is not true, but they keep emphasizing and doing these drone shots of the whole compound, the lake, the trees, them running through the woods. I thought it was either the same place or a similar place of where they crashed, but people keep saying that it's not the same place. But there's something about the emphasis of this, all these aerial shots we keep getting. And with Lottie standing on the wood paneling, and then one episode ended with the overview of the lake and her standing right there. There's some significance to this place also. That's why I was thinking, is it the same place?
I agree 100%. I still think it's that place as well. Like I have heard people say no, but I feel the same exact way. Then what's the
Hmm.
relation? If it's not that, you know, we even saw, and I forget her name, which is unfortunate because she was a main character for a while, but the girl who gets in the plane and decides she's just
Hmm.
going to give it a shot, she crashes into a lake. You know what I mean? So it's like
Hmm.
all of the geographical features line up. The only difference is
Hmm.
it's not wintertime. So I feel the same way. I think that they are in the same forest. I almost feel like
Hmm.
Lottie reclaimed that area and tried to turn it into
Hmm.
something positive. Um,
Hmm.
at least that's what she thought she was doing, but she was probably actually being drawn back out there
Yeah.
for
Even
another
with,
purpose.
we saw them also trying to get that moose on the lake when it was frozen.
Yes.
So
Yep.
to me, all of it is like we're back in this place. They're dancing around the fire, similar to what they did when they were there back in the day. I believe it's the same place. I know everyone says that it's not, but why do they keep showing all these aerial shots, all of the greenery? Sometimes they were running through the woods one evening. Um, to me, it has to be this. There's some significance to this location. Also, at the end of one of the episodes, we saw the same symbol. Um, from another aerial shot of the girl, or that image on the ground near the lake
Yes.
too.
Hmm. There's so many unanswered questions and then plot lines that were given instead. Like I'm
Yes.
still like, and I know that you can relate, so thank God, but I'm still thinking about Javi. Where was he? And what was wrong with that tree that had its roots completely uncovered because it was warm under the area? Like, why aren't we figuring more out about where Lottie was when she was like in this shopping dimension, and then where Javi was that he comes back fully fed? I just feel like there is another world under that ground, and we're just all ignoring it right now.
I have heard like some theories about like the underground stuff and where he was. What you said about the trees remind me of something that I saw in this week's episode in the beginning. So once you watch it, they're gonna pick up a little bit on that with the coach and the roots of that tree. So it kind of makes sense of why they were emphasizing this thing in this episode this week. So yeah, there had been theories about how he what happened to him, how he was alive. So I don't know.
Right.
He During the winter he survived with no food. He wasn't thinner, and that's another thing that kind of bothers me about this show, is that they're supposed to have been out here 6 months at this point.
Right.
Physically, they don't look like that.
Nope.
Sometimes their hair looks a little bit, raggedy, the wigs, but especially Christina Ricci's wig, it does look a little bit moppy now.
Yeah.
but it's not giving me vibes that we've been here for 6 months.
Christina Ricci's younger character,
Hmm.
Misty, this actress does a phenomenal job of
She
being
is, because she looks
so
so
annoying.
different.
Oh, I'm like, she has bright blue eyes and like dark
Yes.
brown hair and very slim. And they put in these like muddy ass contacts, like the same color as my eyes. They like dull her down, worst perm, but she annoys the shit out of me. Like Misty drives me
Yeah.
nuts. And she does such a good job of the show does a good job of making us wonder who's the craziest, because we started with seeing Lottie in season 1 take
Hmm.
pills, and then as soon as we figured out that Lottie had no pills left over, we knew something was happening, whether she has
Hmm.
multiple personalities, whether she is bipolar or psychosis prevention. We knew something was coming, but then we see
Hmm.
Shauna's demise. We see
Hmm.
Thaisa sleepwalking, and we still don't
Yeah.
know. It's like everybody's crazy.
Well, they all have some type of psychosis going on. So Thaisa, to me, has DID, which is multiple personalities. I think that Lottie is schizophrenic. And a lot of
Okay.
the other girls, I think, have some kind of head trauma from the crash. So they go through different psychosis. But Shauna is very interesting. She might be the most interesting character to me because I'm trying to figure out, this is going to sound pretty bad, if her adult self is it bad acting, or is it that her character is numb and trapped in the mental capacity of when all the trauma happened to her when she was like 15, 16. So I've been trying to figure out if it's that they're trying to show us that mentally she's still like 15 years old and that's why she's so numb, or is it the acting? Like, I've been trying to figure that out.
I think that I think that it's probably intentional. I think you're right. I think they're
Okay.
trying to show us that it's her 15 or 16-year-old self, and that she still responds to
Mm-hmm.
things the way that she would in a very primitive
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like the way that her minivan was taken and she shows up there. I thought that was
Yeah.
hysterical. I'm like, look at her. Like, what are we watching now? Like she's like and I knew it was gonna go that way. But even her husband, I'm gonna be honest, for 1 second, I thought all of them were dead. Like I thought this was about to be like American Horror Story Murder House.
Oh.
And like when they showed us the plane charred
Uh-huh.
and the bodies in it, that
Mm-hmm.
everybody's really dead. And I
Oh,
thought
okay.
maybe like Jeff was going crazy, and that he was
Mm-hmm.
like one of the few, Jeff and then Thaisa's wife were one of the few
Mm-hmm.
people we saw in the actual like real world. I don't know that I think that anymore, but I'm still confused as to what they were trying to do with that episode when we see the plane and when we see all of the
Yeah.
bodies in it.
I'm Is Thaisa's wife the same girl from the cabin?
No.
Okay. There's a lot of emphasis on that other girl, but nothing about her as an adult. So I was like, is it the same person? Because they seem to, in the newest episodes, be focusing on her more. So I've been wondering like what's going on with that also. What'd you think about when Shauna beat up Lottie?
That had me speechless. I couldn't believe how hard she went. Like
Yeah,
one,
and
I
they
could
let
have,
her.
that's what I was about to say, and nobody stepped in. Um, I couldn't, I like it was so brutal. She looked like dead. I couldn't believe she
Mhm.
fucking moved. Like when she
Yeah,
moved that arm, I was like, oh my God, because I mean, her face was so swollen.
yeah.
What did you think? Like, do you think that she has all of that rage in her, or does this feel extra even for the show?
I think she does have all that rage in her because look what she was able to just do to that guy that she was dating. She has this like switch that um she's very numb, so sometimes she can be very just like zombie like, but the wrong thing can really flip that switch of like flight or flight, and she'll go into that flight mode of like, okay, I have to go into survival mode. And I don't think it's the last time that we're going to see that happen. But yeah, it was very interesting that no one stopped. I think they were also in flight or flight, so they froze. They went to fawn mode of just, okay, so I don't know what to do here. And
Like
there's
in
no one there to
shock.
really regulate.
True.
They're
Because
all just
Lottie was the
surviving on,
regulator.
yeah,
Oh my God, it was so crazy. And to be transparent, the episode before, because of my issues with birth and
hmm
all of that, I couldn't watch. So I'm only picking up clues. But just to run it back, in the episode prior, what
hmm
happened to Shauna? Did she give birth and her baby was not alive and she was in psychosis? Like she was in either in shock or in psychosis and she imagined them eating?
she went back and forth between psychosis. So there were times
Okay.
where they were showing her going to giving birth, but then other times where it's like, is this real or is this her psychotic mind? And there were times that it was, I won't say it was confusing, but like, what are we doing here? But yeah, the baby was a stillborn. Misty tried to help deliver the baby based off of her limited CPR nursing skills as the class that she took. But yeah, the baby was just not able to survive in that environment. But we went through psychosis of her um, living this alternative life of, well, if the baby had been born, how she was struggling to breastfeed and stuff like that. But yeah, it just wasn't able to happen.
And that baby wouldn't have survived anyways. Do you know what I
No.
mean? Like it's so unfortunate her character goes through another loss because she's already lost Jackie and dealing with
Yeah.
immense guilt from
Yeah.
eating her um and
So
not really
that makes me think
protecting
she is
her.
numb.
Totally. She's got to be
Yeah.
completely and part of me does think that she loved Jackie. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
just like a friendship. Like maybe Shauna's character is straight, but part of me thinks that she loved Jackie in a way that like she wanted to be Jackie or she wanted to be
hmm
with Jackie or something like that. Like she their friendship was different. Like Shauna valued her opinion in a way that I would not value my friends'
hmm
opinions. It was like she put Jackie very much up here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you watched the show Cruel Summer, like the first season of it.
I didn't.
It's similar, like a parallel about friendships and wanting to become like your best friends, like that person because of the what they have, the lifestyle, idolizing them so much. So yeah, I do think that she has gone through just so much loss. I wish that there was just more depth into the baby story. It could have, like, if the baby had lived, or I don't know. I think there just could have been more done with that. Like, it could have went to something else that we would have been like, okay, what happened to the baby? Like, did he
Right.
survive? Like, is he living somewhere now? I don't know. I think they killed that so quick. No, I guess no pun intended.
Right.
Um, but I think there just could have been more to that. It was just kind of defeating at the end.
I agree. It was like it was just very heavy. And I think that that's how they wanted us to feel like no
Mhm.
closure and just very not at ease. So I guess they did a good job. Um,
That's true.
what do you think of them adding in Van's cancer storyline? Because to me, I'm wondering why we need, unless she is going to be sacrificed, you know what I mean? Like they assume that she's the closest to death. Like I
Mhm.
don't know why we need something else thrown into this entire plot.
It's another distraction.
Right.
This show is just filled with so many distractions. I don't know the point because they can't be together.
Right.
She's married. Van is
Exactly.
dying. She's also struggling financially. They live in two separate worlds. I guess to bring them back one last time, to see if they could have a relationship during this like this retreat they're on. But other than that, there's nothing there. They can't be together.
And we get their history. Like, I don't think I've ever thought at all during this entire series that Van and
Mhm,
Thaisa did not have a very serious, close,
mhm.
life-changing relationship.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, we didn't need to see Thaisa make out with Van and cheat on her wife who's in the hospital. I'm like, where's your wife? Like, I just could
Budget
not
cuts.
think, right? I could not think of anything else but it. I'm like, get this out of here. Like, I just want to see where Sammy is. Where's the dog? Is that dog alive? Like, I just have so many more questions than that.
She killed the dog.
But remember, she got a second one. And I'm like, did the second
Oh,
dog survive?
I forgot about the
Hopefully.
second dog.
Yeah.
Um, but when it comes to the one thing about Van and Thaisa, I'm wondering what happened to them once they got back home. Like,
Good
did
question.
Thaisa was like, I have to go this way. My family wants me to go over here and go into politics. Something happened where it's kind of like one of those love stories where my parents really have this plan for me to go to like college and live this life, and you're over here just in this small town, and I'm
Yeah,
moving away to California. So I guess we can't be together because I have to do what my parents want. It's giving me that vibe. Like she
I
got back
agree.
home and I was like, well, they had plans for me, so bye.
I can see that. I can 100% see that. I hope we get to
Yeah.
see another season, to see what their college
Hmm.
selves do. Like, how do you girls collect yourself next would be my question.
Hmm.
Um, so just to end it with like end Yellow Jackets discussion, what do you think is going to happen ultimately? Because I hated Misty's scene, but I think there has to be something important with Elijah Wood. I can't believe that she calls him, admits to murder after he questioned her so hard in a non-inadvertent way about whether or not
Hmm.
she killed Adam. I can't tell if he's the FBI and he's been trying to get her, if he's a Yellow Jackets obsessed and he's just obsessed with all of
Hmm.
them, or if he's going to save her and show up. But there has to be something bigger. So I'm just dying to know which you think it is, if any of
It's
those.
given me that he's like an obsessed, like nerdy, like blogger or something like that. I can't see him being a part of the FBI, but that also might be his facade of getting close to her, of being like similar to her.
Right.
Um, I do think he's gonna come back in some kind of way. I like Misty from season one better. She just seemed more like diabolical, more like conniving, darker, but darker in a sense that like, ooh, I like this. Now it's kind of dark in a way where it's like cheesy
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
kind of quirky.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
When she
too
killed that
campy.
reporter was like, oh, this is like amazing. Like I thought
Yeah.
this lady was about to get away.
Same. Same. That was when it was good. And then, and when she killed Adam, even when she like busted it on Natalie and like snorted all of her coke, that was hilarious. Like, I loved that part. Like, she was, but it's when we see like Caligula, who I don't really care about, and
Hmm.
her fantasies. And even when we saw, actually, I did enjoy this. I enjoyed that we got to see Lottie, no, not Lottie, Mari, and all the girls
Hmm.
talk shit about Misty and be like,
Hmm.
yeah, of course Misty didn't flinch during childbirth. She's fucking a psycho. Like, look, like she killed Crystal. And then she overhears that and 2 minutes later walks in crying and we have to find Crystal. Like, that killed me. That was so funny.
Yeah, they're like, if your best friend was missing, wouldn't you be out there trying to look for her,
Right.
not just staying around? And then when Coach was gonna, kill himself, and she's like, well, I'll tell everybody that you're gay. It's like that's what you can come up with, Misty. Come on, can we be a little bit more empathetic? He's like, go for it. I don't care. And I was just
And
like,
then she's like, well,
Misty.
I'll tell him that I had your baby and that Shauna had your, and I'm like, and that would have been enough for me to be like, I'm not, never mind. Never mind.
It's just like she was spiraling into just like
Totally.
mistiness.
But I do think there was something behind when she said, like, I don't want another death on my hands. Like, I tried to save
Hmm.
I do think she thought the coach wanted to kill himself because of her.
Hmm.
I do think she did think that he thought she purposely killed Shauna's baby or had some sadistic
Hmm.
intent. And I don't even think she purposely killed Crystal. I think that she said that and then pushed her. And it's like the classic, like, I hear stories all the time of somebody who gets in a drunk fight and they push someone and that person
Yeah.
falls and hits their head. And then you hear that they pass unexpectedly. It's like,
Hmm.
even I'm watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. Candy's ex-fiance that she was with gets in a fight. He seems fine, and then he dies
Oh yeah, I
unexpectedly.
forgot about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the brain trauma. It seemed like a classic one. It just went too far, and that ended up being a lethal overstep.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that happens a lot. You see that all the time on Dateline.
Yeah.
Um, and people's emotions get the best of them in that moment that it's too late after that. That push, that slap, it's too late. You can't go back.
And that's why it's so important to not engage in violence. But
Hmm.
then sometimes you really want to. And that's a good segue into Summer House Martha's Vineyard. Did you watch the latest episode where Phil took
Yes.
a shit? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, let's start there because, like I said, it's a great segue. Phil, so switching
Phil.
over. Summer House Martha's Vineyard, I'm going to give the listeners a little background. It's a new series. If you're not
Hmm.
watching, it's on Peacock. It's also live on Bravo, Sunday nights at 9. It's a brand new spinoff of Summer House. I like it better. I like the cast. I like that it's an all black cast and we don't just have a couple of black cast members thrown on. Like,
Hmm.
there's actual
Hmm.
diversity. So I really enjoy that about it. I enjoy seeing a different part of like an elite vacation spot in the East Coast
Yeah. Hmm.
because I've heard of the Hamptons, but I didn't hear of Martha's Vineyard before. Like I don't know what that is or what it
Hmm.
looks like there. So I'm enjoying that aspect. But we have this cast, and I think there's maybe 8 of them that share a
Hmm.
house.
Friends. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 friends that share a house.
Hmm.
And Bria is one of the cast members who is highly controversial just because she brings her dog, and her dog is causing so many little inconveniences around this house, we'll say.
Hmm.
To
Around people
pile
who don't have dogs, you could tell, or don't care for dogs.
exactly, and just have
Yeah.
a certain way that they enjoy keeping their space.
Yeah.
And I don't knock that to preface at all. I get that. But she brings these 2 guests. She brings Shanice on this week, her friend, and she brings
Hmm.
Phil. And both of these people are supposed to be her friends. And we see Shanice be a bad friend all episode. And then we see Phil arrive at the house, upset that Bria didn't save him a room. I guess we did see episode 1, her FaceTime him say to put a sticky note, whatever, she didn't. His room gets taken, and he throws a fit and shits in this guy's bathroom and doesn't flush it in order to claim the room. What was your thoughts?
One, how do you claim a room when you're late? You can't put dibs on something and you're not there when like 7 other people are already there claiming rooms. Oh, we're gonna save that for whenever Phil gets here. Like, girl, what? I'm here right now. My bags are here right now. So you snooze, you lose. I thought it was
Totally.
very like petty. And at first, since the guy can't remember his name, when he went in there to flush the toilet, he didn't make a big stink about it. Um, I would be like, like it smells in here, okay? I would have made some kind of scene, being dramatic, like, oh my God. But he just went in there, flushed the toilet. So to me, I don't know if I really believe he did that.
Oh, okay.
Because once you use the bathroom and it sits there for hours,
Oh,
the bathroom would not be the only thing smelling. You would smell that throughout the house, the bedroom. No one else was complaining about a smell. So I'm like, did he really do that? Did he
oh my
really?
God.
Because even production would be like, it smells like, in here. Nobody was doing that. So I don't know if I really believe that he did that. I think he may have went to the bathroom in there and then flushed the toilet. But I don't know if he let it sit there because it was hours later.
Oh my God. I could just, if it, my mind can't even, like, if that really did happen and if it was sitting there,
Yes.
the
It would
rage in
smell.
me would be
Yes.
so high. I wouldn't, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't know if it would be good or bad TV, but the rage in me would be a lot just because
Yes.
that is disgusting. And I sure as shit would probably flush it just because I'm disgusted, but then I would probably go and I would probably have to like throw hands. Like I would probably have, if it was a girl,
Hmm.
I would slap her. And if it was a guy, I would punch him in the fucking face. Like I
Hmm.
would be so pissed about that. And I don't know what I would do in response, but I would want to do something. Like
Yeah, you would.
I was re-triggered watching it this morning. Like I rewatched it and I thought, maybe I won't be that upset. Like maybe it's not that bad. No, I saw it and then he had the audacity to try to like spit game at Mariah after. I'm like, Mariah, if you don't send him out of the way, he just told you that he took a shit and didn't flush it. And she still was like, I fuck with Phil. I'm like, how? We don't fuck with
Because he
Phil.
has that, Bill has that I don't give a fuck attitude, and she does too. They match energies. And Mariah's kind of like the black sheep, I think, of the group. Maybe not in the same place financially, lifestyle wise, as the other people. So she has more of an edgy side. So I can get why they were vibing off of each other. But yeah, if he did that, you would smell it before you even went in the room. And
Like
the
that would
guy
be the
had really no
line.
reaction.
That's so true.
So
That's so
I just
true.
don't believe, or he maybe he did, and after he left production, flushed it.
Oh,
But
that's
I
a good
don't
point.
believe that.
It just sat
I don't
there.
believe it was hours later and it was still there, because you would smell that throughout the house.
Oh my God. And I get Mariah, I get that, I guess. Like he's edgy, so
Hmm.
that's alluring. So I get the
Hmm.
mystery behind that. But when you
Hmm.
do something foul, that's like immediately takes the place. Like that, like
Hmm.
the ick comes before. If I thought you were suave or if I thought you were really sexy and then I find out that
Hmm.
you just took a shit and you didn't wash your hands or you took a shit and you didn't flush it,
Hmm.
I'm immediately so unattracted to you. Like it's like when I
Yeah.
see a guy's butt crack, like it's like
Oh yeah.
mm, whatever I felt, never mind.
But she already wasn't really vibing with everyone in the house, so
Good
you know,
point.
it kind of fed into like, well, I'm not really fucking with some of these people either, so come on in here and let's vibe it out.
True.
And I did not realize she was staying in like a two-story house where everyone else was just in like single rooms.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, when he went out there, he was like, how you got it upstairs and downstairs out here? And he's like,
Wow.
maybe I can come stay down here. And she's like, you're not staying up in here.
I love it. She's got like a penthouse. It's like, nope, this is mine.
A
Keep Milo
penthouse
out of
pool
here.
house.
I love it.
What'd
Um,
you think about the main friend though? Like, I felt like she was trying to, pre-produce, like having people come to dinner. So guys, like I have these questions and let's all go deep and talk about, I forgot what the question was, but it was something that just felt very much like we're gonna set the scene, we all get to dinner, and this is what we're gonna talk about. And someone was honestly like, girl, can we just have dinner?
yes. Wait, who said that? Because that was a good moment. Was it Jasmine or was it
Maybe.
Shanice? Was it Bria's friend?
I think it might have been Shanice who said that. But
And
yeah, I just
now,
feel like it felt, the first episode to me felt a little bit like pre-produced, like really we're trying hard.
yeah,
Um, so I wasn't sure if like people were really going to be into it. And I think it's having a slow burn, because it is something different. Phil did come in the second episode and lit shit up, so it's helping it. But I think it's having like a very slow burn because the main character, the girl who's a wife, um, she just feels very much like lost, but trying to be a mini producer.
that yes, it was Jasmine. I know exactly what you're talking about. And then episode 2, she's like, I just want to be a kid. And she's like running through the field or whatever. I'm like,
Hmm.
get in here. Like, what is
Hmm.
happening right now? Like, you don't need to go that extra mile. And plus, she oversells her marriage, which bothers me. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like, if you guys are so secure, then be secure. What did you think about her husband's opinion on going out with Jordan and just not feeling comfortable with them like in the city together? Did you think he was overstepping or onto something?
I think there's some backstory there that we haven't like heard or they're not going to talk about. I think she's very much struggling to identify as a wife, and I think it's unfortunate that when people get married, they feel like they have to become somebody else. I think there's a balance. You can still be who you are, go out and do things. You don't have to just give up your entire life to be a wife. And I think she's struggling with her identity, and so I think there's more there that she's probably has been involved in with her friends going out that now they're just not really saying out loud. But
You're
I do think
probably
it's weird
right.
that, when they're out by the jacuzzi or something, he's like, well, let me go check on my wife. And people are like, she just went in there like, to take a break. Why you gotta go check on her? They're both trying to navigate being married. And I think they're struggling, but they're trying to make it seem like we have a great marriage, we're good, but you can see that there's cracks there.
I think that married couples and drinking houses go so bad together.
Mhm.
We see it in Summer House, and like maybe Kyle and Amanda for now are like
Mhm.
fine and not being under a microscope, but when you're in a very serious relationship and you
Mhm.
do things for your partner out of respect for them, people don't like that. Like when you're
Yeah.
out and with singles, like single people are single minded, and if you're not
Mhm.
living your life just for you, or if you're like inhibiting yourself for someone else, they'll feel that
Yeah.
and not and think that you're slighting yourself. um and I kind of hate group settings altogether, but I still just love to watch these shows because they're messy. Like I know they're messy
Yeah.
because I've been there and I've been in them. Um,
Yeah, I
I
think there's a way to be respectful. Like, you're not asking for permission, but you're being respectful. Like, it's not just about me anymore. I do have someone at home. I want to respect my time of like, hey, I hung out with you guys, but it's midnight now. I want to go home and be with my husband or whoever it is. But your friends are like, oh, you got to check in with him. You got to go answer to him. It's like, no, it's just a level of respect of knowing that I'm married now. Like, I can
right.
stay out with y'all at 4 o'clock in the morning when I was single, but maybe 1 o'clock, midnight, I gotta go home.
Yeah. And more than that, sometimes you just want to go home, and some friends
Yes.
don't accept that. They're like you, like Bria's kind of dealing with that a little bit with Jasmine. We see like I don't feel like a party girl anymore. I have a boyfriend, I'm pretty settled
Mhm.
down. I like to not go out, and Jasmine's like not understanding it. So the one thing I like about the show, I definitely agree it's a slow burn. I like
Mhm.
it's dialogue heavy and that they're good conversations. Like I
Mhm.
like the fact that Preston in the first episode addresses how he doesn't like the term Black excellence, and we hear
Mhm.
him explain why. And then
Mhm.
I like how we see Phil's toxic masculinity like right off the bat. And
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about that. Like I just like that it's like the relatable issues.
Mhm.
Even the whole like chiming in on having an opinion on your girlfriend going out, that's relatable. Like it's
Mhm.
I like that aspect of it. It's not like lover boy, who the fuck has a friend who owns a drinking company? Like I don't relate to
Mhm.
that as much as I relate to like some of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
smaller side stories.
Mhm. What'd you think
Transition.
of the push?
Oh wow.
Do you
Um
think it was a push?
Kind of.
Mm.
I think that I'm like a very calm person until
Mhm.
someone gets in my physical space or is
Mhm.
physical with me. And then I know that I am very highly reactive. So if
Mhm.
somebody touches me, I would probably feel the need to respond. Just in
Okay.
terms of like, I don't know like how maybe you would just walk away, but I feel like if you're going to push someone, then I would have done what Bria did and like threw the thing back. Like, okay, fine, we'll
Mm.
start there. We'll start there. Like, here, fine, whatever, have it back then. Here's the dog towel that you hate so much. Like now it's touching you. What? And then if it was like another push, then it's like push back. Like I would definitely use push
Yeah.
back, I think. What do you think?
I don't know. I didn't see it as a push.
You didn't.
Mm-mm, I didn't see it as a push. I do think she invaded her space, but the level of like dramatics that came around and kind of ruined the rest of the night, I didn't really. And also like, are you really my friend? Go over there and check her. Why aren't you saying something and letting her just party without, checking her about what happened? One, she wasn't there when that push happened. But also, I didn't really feel that it was a push. It was an invasion of my space, and you being in my face, yes. Was it disrespect?
Yes.
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 But I felt like it was like a tap, but
It
I do
was.
understand that that was like you're still in my personal space physically. I feel like maybe physically threatened.
She was like little brothering her. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
feel like if someone did that to me, like they wanted to harm me, but it's like
Mhm.
I'm not touching you, and then you like get really
Yeah.
close to poking them. It's like, well then just do it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I would at least feel the need to match the pettiness and be annoying. Like I don't think I would be physical, because you're right. If it's just like a little like "Tch," then I'll just be like
Uh-huh.
"Tch." back, like, fine, we'll just keep it very low key. But if it was a very big push, like, then you're
Yes.
right. Then you're right. And then, but I still think Shanice was a terrible friend. She should have just
Mhm,
stepped in. She has no image to preserve with any of these people. Like, when you're
mhm,
coming as a guest in a house, your loyalties to your friend. And if your friend all of a sudden tanks, you're going to look like shit, just like she does in front of all
mhm,
8 of these people. And you just kind of have to know that. And then you guys like either leave or you go get drunk or you make
mhm.
apologies later. But
Yeah.
your job there is to at least say, Bria, you're taking this too far. Let's go talk outside. Or
Mhm,
Mariah, don't touch her. This is about to escalate because you guys are in each other's physical space. Let's
mhm.
call it quits. And she just remained Switzerland and tried to get a drink and get her picture taken.
And that's what's gonna, I think, continue to get her in trouble is that she plays the fence too much.
Absolutely. I couldn't
Mhm,
agree more. So I want to get into Vanderpump really quickly. If you have a hard out at 3, right? Just so I can watch
mhm.
the clock. Perfect. I'll get into what I can. You're aware of the scandal situation because the
Yes.
news is aware of it. So
Yes, yes.
yes, I want to know if you think that there's hope for Raquel in the sense that, and I'm not playing devil's advocate, but I want to set the
Mhm.
background. She's
Okay.
28 years old. She was in at least an emotionally abusive relationship before. I don't know if it was anything further, but you can
Mhm,
watch tumultuous scenes between her and James and get the vibe that she was this and he was here, and she had to do a lot to match up to him. So she's 28, out of a abusive relationship.
mhm,
She drinks often
mhm.
with maybe like I if I'm looking at her, I'm gonna guess like 5 to 6 days a week just because of how often they film. And then she's in Los Angeles.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not that I want to give her like this, oh, like you're meek and you're white and you're pretty and you're blonde, but I look at her and I see someone thrown with the sharks. And I wonder if I'm the only one who feels like there's some redemption for her.
I think there is. I think it comes with like a lot of therapy though, so you don't keep ending up in these relationships where men take advantage of you, they use and abuse you. And the alcohol is probably her way of coping. But then also you live in LA, you're a Rob celebrity, um, producers are making money off of like the train wreck of your life at times. But yeah, I would say probably like step away from the cameras a little bit and do some deep work about why do I keep ending up in these relationships? And navigating, trying to move forward in a new relationship and knowing like, okay, is this person here for me? Is this person here for the person that they've seen on TV? Do they want clout from me?
Right.
It's gonna be hard for her to navigate like a healthy relationship and trust. This because it's been everywhere. Everyone's gonna know her story.
Everyone. And for people who think that, um, like essentially she has no redemption for the friendship aspect, that Ariana was supposedly, her best friend. In your time as a therapist, like, do people ever get in such a heavy relationship with alcohol or so wrapped up by something else that they treat people who they love bad? Like, like, is this uncommon? Like, is Raquel like the 1% of the world, or is this more common for someone to take advantage of someone who's close to them or betray their trust? Or is this more common than people are acknowledging?
I think it's more common. It's just people have become immune or numb to it. Or sometimes people are used to being taken advantage of by their own parents, that they have friendships or relationships with people who do the same thing. And so it happens a lot more, but people don't talk about it. A lot of times people focus on how men can be toxic, but women can be too. And there's a lot of
Agreed.
women out there who are kind of you know, getting by on being toxic because we don't talk about or acknowledge it, especially in female relationships. There's a lot of cattiness, a lot of manipulation. Some people are self-absorbed. That I think she can come back from this, but she has to, think about like, how did I end up in this situation? Like with these two people, like how did I contribute to the demise of this friendship? sleeping with this person who was already involved with somebody else. Like, why did I put myself in this situation? Take out Tom, take out the other people, and focus on, like, how did I end up here?
I think it's going to be a big journey of self-love for Raquel, because I think when you put yourself, and this is speaking from experience, when you put
Hmm.
yourself in risky situations, when you
Hmm.
engage in risky behavior, you don't appreciate yourself enough not to. You
Hmm.
don't care. You may, like, in a sense, you're numb. If I'm drinking 6 days a week, the decisions I make when I'm blacked out, I'll be surprised if number one, I remember, but number two,
Yeah.
I'll think that's drunk Leah. Leah
Yeah.
isn't her. And if your boyfriend, just like saying an example, like if your boyfriend happened to be someone I made out with while I was drunk, I didn't know he was your boyfriend, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like old Leah would be like, I don't know what to say. Like, but
Very common.
right. I can see grace for just not being like that. I just know what it's like when you're drinking to fill a void and around people who just want to drink with you. Cause I was a bartender, like bar
Hmm.
crew, very similar to Vanderpump, like bar crew, when you want to go out with them, they're ready to keep you down the same way as them. So everybody's at the same level. And I think they all feed into that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for women engaging in risky behavior or seeking male validation? Anything that you would say?
Figure out, like, what do you get from it? What is the void that these negative behaviors fill for you? And try and figure out within yourself, like, how can I get that need met within me and not engage in these risky behaviors?
I love that. And therapy, right? Is
Oh, of
talk.
course.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's
Therapy is
end.
always the answer.
I love that. And we'll end with that because I started therapy this week. I'm doing EMDR, which is
Oh,
what
okay.
you
Hmm.
specialize in. And really quickly, just to give a plug, what is EMDR, and you know, how can people find you? We'll end with that, I guess.
So EMDR therapy is a therapeutic model where it helps you kind of desensitize yourself to negative memories, experiences, because oftentimes those negative memories, experience leaves us feeling a certain kind of way, like I can't feel safe, I am not worthy, I'm a bad person, and that emotion, that thought about myself, is attached to a core memory. So EMDR is able to use like eye movement, tapping, body sensations to have you kind of relive and sit in that memory so that now when you are triggered by it, after EMDR therapy, or something comes up about that memory or thought, you don't feel that negative belief about yourself and you're not triggered by it anymore.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I literally can't wait. If that speaks to you, and if you just can't even imagine living a life where it's possible to not be triggered by certain things,
Hmm.
like let's say you can't drive on the highway. Let's
Hmm.
like me, like let's say that birth grosses you out, like, or you just can't go to the doctor and get your teeth cleaned, like you can't go to the dentist. There's ways that you can live a normal life.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited for that. And I encourage everybody to look into therapy. Um, I'm excited for my journey. Do you take new
Hmm.
patients or are you closed? What is your
Yeah, I always just tell
situation?
people to reach out to me. They can go to my website, Denise Brady, lmft.com. Also on TikTok, Denise Brady, and reach out to me and we can see what we can do, if we can work together or not.
I love it. Thank you so much for all of your time. Thank you for the tidbits you gave us. I definitely want to do
Hmm.
an episode in the future because
Oh, of course. I
like you
love
have,
talking about TV.
yeah, like I have so much more I want to discuss. I'm only on season 2 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, so I need to talk about that sometime with you. I love
Yes,
it.
yes. All right. Well, thank you. I enjoyed like the conversation. So much to talk about. There is so much TV, so much unscripted TV coming this summer.
Yes.
Um, are you going to be watching The Ultimatum?
Yes. I'm going to be watching
Okay.
Ultimatum. I'm going to be watching Selling Sunset. Are you going to watch both?
Yes, I'm also going to watch Bachelor in Paradise. Yes. So we're going to have some
Yay!
things to talk about.
Perfect. And really quickly, what comes first, Bachelor in Paradise or Bachelorette? Do you know?
Bachelor in Paradise, I thought was more of a summer show, or is it more fall?
I thought it was summer too. I know June 26th is charity season. So I'm like, do they squeeze in
Oh,
Paradise before?
no, I think it must come in like, I think like August,
Okay.
September-ish.
Okay. So
I
be
guess
on
we
the
have some
lookout for
time
that.
now.
Yeah, we have some time. We'll be able to watch Ultimatum,
Mm-hmm.
Selling Sunset, do episodes on that, all
Mm-hmm.
things in between. Thank you again for
Yes.
your time. I loved it.